So while making the previous video about drifting seasons of the Hindu calendar, basically the Hindu calendar is the lunisolar sidereal calendar, and the Gregorian calendar is the tropical calendar, locked to the seasons, locked to solstice and equinoxes. So while comparing this, I had mentioned that we had calculated the dates of some of the festivals. So we had looked at Ram Navami also. So we saw that before 1000 BCE, most of the dates we looked at very few samples. Some of the Most of these dates before 1000 BCE are before spring season, and we know Ram Navami, as described in Valmiki Ramayana, Rama's birth was during the spring season, that is the Chaitra. So Chaitra Shukla Navami. So bright half of the ninth day of the bright half of the Chaitra month. So this is now it's on 26th March. So this can be considered, this is proper spring. 9th March in 1000 BC can also be considered roughly as spring, beginning of spring or something. So let's look at this in more detail. Let's look at what is whether it is 1000 BCE or 800 BCE or whatever. So all the dates we get from drikpanchang.com. Basically, they have a good facility. We can find out the Hindu Panchanga, that is the phases of the moons, where the sun is, the location of the sun in the zodiac, and the nakshatra and all. Using this, we don't get the position of the planets. We don't get the kundali or this horoscope chart that people make. This is just the panchanga, the details of the date. So on the browser, we can set this minus sign here. So we'll go back to 3000 BCE. It doesn't seem to work within the tab inside the page, but with we can set the date on the browser user URL, and it works between these two dates, between 3227 BCE to 3000 BCE, about 1000 years into the future. So let's look at it. So these are the dates of the Meena Sankranti. Basically, Meena is Pisces, the constellation, the zodiac constellation Pisces. So these are the dates when the sun enters Pisces, when the sun enters Meena. So around 1000 BCE, it was happening on Feb 1st. Now it happens around March 15th. These are the dates of Yugadi or Ugadi, which happens to be on the Chaitra Shukla Pratipada, and Rama's birthday is about 7-8 days after that. This Pratipada is first day of this bright half of Chaitra. Then this is the 9th day of the bright half of Chaitra, which is Rama's birthday. So this is the list of Rama's birthday throughout the years. We have sampled many years. So basically what we find is between these Meenas, this is purely based on the movement of the sun, and the variation you can see over the years, year to year, there is not much variation. There is for almost about 70 years there will be the same dates, more or less the same dates, maybe plus or minus one date because of the leap year funda that we use. Other than that, it has a smooth variation, smooth secular or a global kind of variation. So it's in 1000 BC, it's 1st February. Around 200 BC, it will be 12th, 13th February, and this is CE. This is 200 years after Common Era. This is before Common Era, BCE. So after around 200 CE, it's about 18th or 19th February, and so on. For a long years, for a long time, it will hold, and then it smoothly changes to 20th, 21st February, and so on. But these things are based on the phases of the moon, and they have year to year, quite a lot of year to year variation. They can vary like 10, 12, 15 days. And there are also these Adhika Masas, the leap months added once in a while, or some Kshaya Masas where some months are taken away according to some proper rules. So whenever those happens, these there is a lot of year to year variation in the dates, because it depends on the moon's phase. It's not simple sun's phase. Sun's north south movement, so which is what the Gregorian date gives, which is locked to the sun's north south movement. So this is the moon's movement along the zodiac, around the zodiac, so it has variation. And what we see is that between this day when the sun enters Pisces, between Meena Sankranti and Rama's birthday, Chaitra Shukla Navami, there can be a maximum gap of 37 days and a minimum gap of 9 days. And the average gap works out to be around 23 days. Average gap as in over the long years, like say if we consider 40-50 years or something like that, there will be an average of about 23 days gap between the Meena Sankranti and the Rama Navami. So if the Meena Sankranti, if the sun is entering Pisces around 1st February, which happened during 1000 BCE, the average day of Ram Navami will be 24th February. So this 9th March in 1000 BCE, we see that 9th March is the day of Ram Navami, which has a difference of 37 days between this and Meena Sankranti, between Ram Navami and Meena Sankranti. So this 37 days is one of the higher, and it happens rarely. Most of the other days will be much less. So this is the maximum possible. If average is 24, maximum possible is 9th, which is still not spring. We'll consider spring as say after March 15th. So it's still about a week away from spring. This is early March, which can be considered as spring, but um, in the Valmiki Ramayana, this Chaitra Shukla Navami is described as the trees are in full bloom, flowers are in full bloom, and so on. So let's assume it's about 15th March. So when we come to around 200 BCE, the average becomes 8th March, and the minimum is 21st Feb. So minimum. So many of the years we get 13th March and 10th March and things like that. Some of the years will go to 27th Feb, last week of Feb. It can go down as low as 21st Feb, because this is around 12, 13. If it is 12th Feb plus 9 is 21. So this is the minimum. And around 13th, 12th, 13th Feb, 8th, 9th March will be this 37 day. If we add 37 day to this, we'll get around oh, that's the highest. If we add around 23 days, it will be 8th March. So average is around 8th March. In another 14 days, it will be March 22nd, March 21st. This is the summer vernal equinox. So this is the kind of thing, but it is not consistently, we see it is not consistently after March 15th. So all the days which are less than March 15th have been marked in red. Some of the low dates, or this February 27 should have been marked in blue. Some of the low dates which are in February, basically they had been marked in blue. So there are only after 200 CE, we can see there are only 2 days in these 17 years. There are only 2 Februaries. All of them are above March. And so so this is CE. This is 200 years after the Common Era. This is before Common Era. So in 200 CE, the average turns out to be 13 March, and the minimum is 27th Feb. So we can consider this is more or less consistently Ram Navami is falling in spring. So after this point, it will be common knowledge, like the people will know. If you mention like Chaitra Shukla Navami, people will know that it is in spring. So that's why in these stories it is mentioned like that. So it would be common knowledge. It will be like a repeating year to year occurrence. Otherwise, if it's a one-off event, like say in 1000 BC, it happens in 1 year. For the next 5-6 years or 10 years, it doesn't happen like that. It will go back to winter and all. It's not like that. I mean, it will not be a special day like that. It will be a common knowledge, common occurring. So that's why we think it should be it will be mentioned in the scriptures, like saying Chaitra Shukla Navami is a spring day. So it will be a typical occurring during the time when it was imagined or pictured. So that can be possible only after 200 CE. So Rama's birthday or the Chaitra Shukla Navami consistently falling in spring season is only possible after around 200 CE, when this Meena Sankranti is about after about 18th February. So basically, this is the thing. Rama's birthday defined as per Hindu lunisolar calendar system. So this is the sidereal system, which defines as Chaitra Shukla Navami. It can consistently occur in spring season only after 200 CE. You can check this list from the Dikpanchanga or whatever other software you're using. So now let's move to Bhishma's death or Bhishma's moksha. So basically, these are the lists of Makara Sankrantis. So Makara is Capricorn. These are the dates when Sun enters the Capricorn constellation, Capricorn zodiac. So it used to be mid-November, 19th November in 2007, 2000 BCE. Then it shifts to around 4th December in 1000 CE. Then around 12th, 13th December after 400 CE, and so on. So, and these are the lists of Magha Shukla Ashtami, which is defined as what Bhishma chose as the day of his departure. And he chose this day during Uttarayana. So he chose this day Magha Shukla Ashtami specifically because it was on Uttarayana. So many people think in modern times Uttarayana is usually associated with Makara Sankranti. He does not, Mahabharata does not mention Makara Sankranti but Uttarayana. But many people conflate these two dates also. They think this Magha Shukla Ashtami or the Bhishma's death was on Makara Sankranti, but it is on Magha Shukla Ashtami during Uttarayana, not Makara Sankranti. Actually, Makara Sankranti and Magha Shukla Ashtami cannot be on the same day. So this is the list of all the Magha Shukla Ashtamis over a long period of time, sometimes. So what we see is this from these lists. Actually, it is a geometric. We can show it geometrically also. Basically, it all depends. All these differences. This is the minimum difference between the Makara Sankranti and Magha Shukla Ashtami is 7 days, and the maximum is 37 days. And the average works out to be 22 days. This maxima and minima we can work out purely geometrically based on the geometrical structure of the zodiac and the nakshatras, because if there is some star, there will be a particular star or nakshatra opposite to it. It's always the same because of the arrangement, because of the geometrical pattern of the arrangement of the stars. And it depends on the way we define the months. The months we define also locked to this star system. Like the months are defined based on the where the full moon occurs, on in which star the full moon occurs, which nakshatra the full moon occurs, and so on. So both are linked. So we can geometrically work out why it should be this difference. So this is the difference we get. So if it's 19th November, we are getting plus 36 is at the highest end. So in 2007 BC, we already get few days, very rarely, which cross the 21st December. So 21st December is when Uttarayana. Uttarayana is when the sun starts moving north, which is after the winter solstice. So winter solstice is always more or less on December 21st. So Uttarayana is the 6-month period after December 21st. So Bhishma choosing to take the day Uttarayana means that this date is after sun starts moving northward, which must be after December 21st. It's not Makara Sankranti day. It is this winter solstice, or the day when sun starts moving north. So consistently, so what we expect is Magha Shukla Ashtami to consistently fall on some day which is after 21st, on or after 21st December. So in 2007 BC we see this, but most of the other days they are not crossing the 21st December mark. the average. So we worked out the average is 22 years. So if it is 19th November, the average comes out to be 11th December. So most of the times it's not crossing 21st December. It's not showing the Uttarayana. The sun is not in the Uttarayana phase most of the times. If in 2000 BC, in 1000 BC, the average is 26. So in most of the times we can see that it is crossing the 21st day, 21st December. It is the sun will be most of the times in the Magha Shukla Ashtami. The sun will be in the Uttarayana phase, moving northwards. But there are quite a number of other days like this 14th December or 19th December, which are not which are before the Uttarayana. The sun is still moving southwards during these days. So there are a lot of these days also after in the 1000 BCE range. But when we come to after 400 BCE range, these become very rare. Um, so because the Makara Sankranti is happening around 12th, so average increases. So we can see that between 400 BCE and 329 BCE, which we checked, the 72 years period, there are only 3 years where the day, Ram Navami day, not Bhishma's death day is below 21st, and that's 21st December. That's to just 28th December, very close. So only 3 days. So possibly after 400 CE, we can consider that most of the Magha Shukla Ashtami marks Uttarayana. So right after this, we can assume that Magha Shukla Ashtami means sun is either starting to move or has already moved and moved northwards. So here, so one day in 296 BC, even though it is 13th December, since the difference is only 7 days, it's one of the least. It adds up to 20th December, so it's 1 day less than the winter solstice, 1 day less than the Uttarayana. But after 250 BC, around 250 BCE, we see this Makara Sankranti is happening on 14th December. So even if the difference is minimum 4, 14 plus 7 becomes 21. So the minimum here is 21. So there is no day which will miss Uttarayana. Every Magha Shukla Ashtami after this around 250 BCE will be a Uttarayana day. So this will be the common knowledge. Possibly when the Mahabharata authors mention that Bhishma waited for this day Magha Shukla Ashtami, which is during the Uttarayana. So most commonly this is the minimum 21st December. Magha Shukla Ashtami will be minimum on 21st December or later 23rd, 27th, January 5th or something like that later. So this is a safe mark to find out Uttarayana in this during this epoch after about 250 BC. Even now actually Makara Sankranti is happening in 15 December, so it's already in even the Makara Sankranti is happening in 15 December. So maximum if we add 37 days, it will come to late April or early April sometime. So it will be in springtime, and this thing started after around 400 BCE and more so after around 250 BCE. So since it is common after 250 BCE, we can possibly say that Magha Shukla Ashtami can consistently occur during Uttarayana or during on or after 21st December, which is the winter solstice, only after 250 BCE. So possibly Bhishma's death day is also after 250 BCE. Some of the people claim Mahabharata happened in 3000 BC, 5000 BC, 10,000 BC, or whatever. So we just put this is one of the popular dates used by some people, 3067 BCE. So on 3067 BC, basically the Makara Sankranti is happening very early. It's on 4th November. So on one day in 3068 BC, we see it's on 16th November Ram Navami. It's winter. This is 5th December Ram Navami. This is also more than winter. It's before winter solstice. So this is also around 15 days before winter solstice. Even with this number difference, 31 day difference Even with such a huge number difference, it's just 5th December. Basically, the average is only 26th November, almost a month before the winter solstice, and the maximum is 11th December in this before 3000 BC. So, the more backward we go, the more we go away from 21st December date. So, it's not possible. So, the only thing possible is after 400 CE, especially after 250 BCE. So, possibly the Mahabharata date is also after 250 BCE if we go by this dating. So that's what we saw. So Rama's birth is most likely after about 200 CE. This is CE, not that this is CE.